Oh, I'm live. Okay, great. So listen, I'm just gonna start doing this from now on because I feel like people need to know the behind the scenes of what goes on for a podcaster, podcast producer. So I'm gonna be going live maybe once a week. You can tune in if you want, or you can catch the replay because I want to give you a behind the scenes look of what goes in, what happens, what does a podcaster do to prepare to podcast. So I'm going to give you a rundown of my entire week, and not only my podcast, but for the podcasts that I produce as well. So I'm going to tell you what's going on this week. All right. So as you guys know, I have multiple podcasts. There's this one. I made a podcast. There is Faith Fight podcast, which are my podcasts that I've had for years. This week, what's happening? So on Wednesday, I'm going to be going to the studio to record an episode of the Faith Fight podcast where I'm going to do another session of the series Success on Purpose. And I'm going to talk about, I can't remember the topic, but I'm going to talk about something that is going to be really powerful and impactful for a lot of people. I'm looking over the script. I already wrote the script yesterday, and I'm going to be reading it over today. And I'm going to be recording it on Wednesday. And then what's going to happen is by Friday evening, I'll be finished editing it, and then I'll set it to schedule to be released on Sunday morning. That's when those episodes come out. Now, I made a podcast. Okay, so that episode, that episode that I have for this week will be releasing on Thursday. I did an interview with Jim, the podcast Sherpa, and I did this interview. I think it was last Saturday in March. And I edited that episode already, and I scheduled it to be released. So we did all that work, put the title, the description, loaded it onto the podcast and host yesterday, and it's already good to go and already in the shotgun, ready to be published on Thursday morning. And that's my episode with Jim, the podcast Sherpa. That was a really good conversation that I had with him. So listen to that if you want to learn from both of us, and more so from him, from what he has done. Now, his podcast is actually a top 10% listened to podcast in the world on Listen Notes. So he shared a lot of good insights on that episode that he did, that conversation that we had on I Made a Podcast. So that is for Thursday morning. That's when that one's going to be released. Now, what else am I working on? So there is so I have a couple clients who are sending me their audio this week. So on Wednesday, I should receive one from Pastor Dean and Pastor Jacqueline for their podcast, Strategizes Your Life podcast. I should receive an audio file from them so that I'll be doing some work to edit and to polish up and then to schedule it and publish it for next week, possibly. And then also, one of my other clients, Barbara Chambers, she has a podcast called Your Deep Life for Christian Women. She will be sending me, hopefully, I have to get her schedule. I sent her an email this morning, but I have to get her schedule because I want to see how I can fit her episodes that I need to work on into this week, or if it's can wait till next week when she tells me her schedule when it's going to be released. But that's something that's kind of like a question mark because I don't know when she wants to release it. That's on the go right now. So for my work in the studio, before I actually get there, I have another podcast that I do for my church. It's called It's Your Destiny podcast. Myself and Pastor Marcus Martinez, we do that podcast. That one is kind of on pause right now. We release episodes every other week, but I just took a break, and we're about to get into the studio to record another session soon, so you can stay tuned for that. Whew, man, there's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, and one other big important announcement that I want to share is I just actually launched a brand new podcast called Dirty Numbers. And that one I released, the first episodes were released today. And it's a true crimes podcast that deals with financial crimes, fraud, scams, and it gives you the backstory. It talks about different heists that happened all over the world. So if you remember anything that happened in the news back in October when the Louvre was broken into and they stole all of those things. I did one of the episodes on the Louvre, and that's done completely with AI. So every single part of it is done with AI. And I was just trying to think. So this is a limited series podcast. It came out pretty good. It just launched today. I just released the first 2 episodes. Or sorry, I released the first 3 episodes today. So you can go and listen to it. And I'll put links down below so that you can listen to it. And that is all the things that I think I'm working on for this week. So as you can tell, I'm kind of busy when it comes to podcasts. And I'm still have a few time to some time to work on some other stuff. So what I'm going to do for the Faith Fight podcast, I'm actually going to work on something else, another topic that I'm going to cover. Hopefully I'll be able to do it tomorrow, and then I'll be able to record it on Wednesday, and I'll do some studying, write the script, and then record the episode on Wednesday when I go into the studio. And hopefully when I get there, I can do 2 episodes on the same time, which would be really efficient, really good for me. Bang it out, and that would be good. But yeah, so that is pretty much it. All of my podcasting work for this week, I think. What I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to continually have these live sessions, maybe on a Monday, just so I can open the window and let you guys see what goes on in the life of a podcaster. Before I actually continue, I want to also mention about my series, Coaching in the Open, for I Made a Podcast. So if you've been listening, following along with the series, we're on part number 2 for both of the podcasters that I've been working with. Deloise's podcast, which is called Smiles from God Podcast, it is out now, so you can go and listen to it. And Miles's podcast, his podcast is called, I can't even remember what it's called, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to make sure I put links down below of this live stream so you guys can listen to Miles's podcast. His podcast will be coming out next week if everything goes according to his plans. And I'm looking forward to listening to his podcast. I already listened to some of Deloise's episodes that she's released, and they're really good, really powerful. So links down below to listen to Deloise's podcast. And if you are starting a podcast, follow along this session with us, and you can do the same things that we are doing, that I'm coaching on how to start a successful podcast, so that you can start a successful podcast and it doesn't just last for maybe 5 or 10 episodes and then just disappears. I want you to have a podcast that lasts for a long time. So follow along, and you can do what they are doing, and you'll be able to understand why, because I'll explain why you need to do certain things. All right. So that's what you will learn through the Coaching in the Open session. So I would encourage you to follow along that process, as we're in part 2 of it now. It's 3 parts I took for both podcasters, already pre-recorded, already done. Both of them are already just about ready to release their podcast. But follow along, listen to the videos, listen to the explanations, or listen to how I'm coaching them, and listen to the reasons why I'm giving them certain advice specific to their podcast, so that you could follow it as well and have a success with your podcast. Now, one other thing, and I can't believe I forgot about these things. Okay. Number 1 is, if you're a Christian podcaster, a Christian content creator, I've created a tool that could help you with your SEO. It's called Faith Rank AI. And this tool, basically what it does is you can upload the audio or the video of your podcast, and you can put your transcripts or your script of the podcast into this tool. It will read it, and it will suggest SEO optimized titles related to your message, and it will give you a description that has the keywords in the description as well, so it will rank higher on search engines. Okay, and it will do all of this while keeping the content Christian, for lack of a better word. So if you're a Christian content creator, you can go try Faith Rank AI. I'll put a link down below for that. And the second thing that I want to share with you is my podcast assessment form that I created. Podcast readiness assessment. Yes, that's what it's called. I almost forgot. So it's called a podcast readiness assessment. So if you have had the idea to start a podcast and you know been thinking about it, think it's a good idea, you want to start, you want to do it, and you think you're going to get 1 million listens, take this podcast readiness assessment. It's really simple. You just have to answer a few questions. You just click the multiple choice and answer the questions as most appropriate according to the way that you would answer the question. Click submit at the end, and then it will give you a score based on your inputs, the ways that you answered the question. And it will either tell you you're 100% ready to go, you got everything down pat, or it will say maybe you're 50% or maybe even 40%, or maybe you're not ready at all. Maybe you're like at 0%. But the thing that this tool will do is it will give you recommendations based on what you entered in. All right. So take the podcast readiness assessment, links down below. You can take it and then it will give you your score. You can download it, follow the recommendations, retake the assessment to see where you, after you made some changes, retake the assessment, and then see where you are in terms of if your podcast is ready to be launched. All right. So that's the behind the scenes, a week in the life of a podcaster, podcast producer. And I do have a real life too with other responsibilities and other things that I'm doing this week. So on top of all of the podcast work that I'm doing, I'm singing this week at church. So we have rehearsal on Thursday. So I can't do anything Thursday evening. And also at church on Friday evening, there's a men's night of worship that I'm going to be a part of. So I won't be able to do any podcast work on Friday night. And then on Saturday morning, hopefully I'm going to meet up with a friend for breakfast. So Saturday morning is kind of like off the table too. So I got a real life, but I have multiple podcasts. So I'm sharing, and then you guys see behind the curtains to let you know that with a little bit of structure and a little bit of diligence, you can have a podcast. You can have multiple podcasts like how I'm doing and still have a regular life, a full life, and still, you know, have a podcast for multiple seasons, multiple episodes, and not, you know, bury yourself under the work of trying to keep your podcast alive. All right. I'm showing you can do it and have a life as well. All right. So remember, the best time to start a podcast is right now. Or sorry, I messed that up. The best time to start a podcast was 10 years ago. Yes, I say it all the time. How could I mess that up? And the second best time to start a podcast, did I mess it up again? No. The best time to start a podcast was 10 years ago. And the second best time is right now. Yeah, I got it right now. And I'm going to get more used to this live stuff because it's kind of fun. And it gets me used to just kind of flowing with it. All right. So go ahead, start your podcast now. Tune in next week, where I'm going to continue to share insights and where I'm at, what's on my plate for the week, so I can encourage you to, you know, start your podcast, and you can see how I'm balancing my life with my podcast and everything else that I'm doing. So all of the links for everything that I mentioned is in the description below. It will encourage you. It will help you get your podcast out there and to the world so you can make an impact with your message. All right. See you next week. Peace.